There is no place in here, nor moment, no familiar semblances. The mind forms here being concerned with nothing that's not ultimately mind itself. The shapes here have no correspondence in the formal world. They are the shape of Yevtushenko's poems, Chopin's etudes, Gödel's math. Here, in these incoherent oceans of unmoulded possibility, systems of thought provide the only landmass. Theory and belief are all we have to walk upon, where language is a shell-swept beach, where algebra's an endless, ghostly boulevard. Suspended in this glimmering continuum, islands of supposition, continents of paradigm, tides of opinion lap in fabulous lagoons of proof, bringing a slow erosion, gradual change of contour. Here, the shifts in understanding are tectonic, diastrophic rumbles in the core, volcanoes of renaissance threatening to spit their heat and gold, to cover all the world with their bright, dangerous precipitations, smuts of change and novelty unrinsable, born on the jet streams of cold inspiration. Depths are soundless, off the map. There is no sextant that will read the constellations here, yet are there hazards. Undertows of falsehood, eddies of delusion and the bedlam reefs. Riding elated swells of reason, bear in mind that nothing is unsinkable. The palm chord orchestra plays on. Beneath these fog-banked ambiguities rear intellectual icebergs. No paranoid Magellan named these straits, autistic Heyerdahl or Thorazine Cabot. The toothpick scums of shattered coracle and surfs of splinter stitch the white caps to these slick grey shores, with here and there the footprint of some prior explorer, inmate or philosopher. Beyond a ribboned shingle of assumption, shifting dunes of creed, there is the scorched air whiff of a synaptic ozone, spindrift gusted from cerebrospinal tropics. Underfoot, a tide-line litter of rejected notions, worm-shot timbers from wrecked ideologies, discredited beliefs. In reason's rock pools, see a ferning coral of dead fairies. Bursts out through solipsistic cumuli. The dazzle of near comprehension leaves a gibberish of phosphorescent scribble on the psychic retina. over these beachheads of Corpus Colossum, strung between two hemispheres, there burns an equatorial sun of fact and data. Best not risk the information tan that brings disfiguring bikini lines of ignorance, or, worse, the sunstroke of religion. Make for shade. The tree line looms ahead. Pull back the snarled anxiety of bramble and plunge, ego first, into the undergrowth. Miasmal thicket darkness here, its chill immediate. Press on. Thorn snags of dogma tearing at the ankles, out into this sudden dappled bright, the eerie cross breeze of a clearing. The atmosphere here coruscates, thick with impending diamond. Through the spike-lit blur, an intimation of delirium's foliage clipped back, ordered into a Magritte topiary. Now a bordered path, redolence of park and arbour, wind chime scent of honeysuckle. With each step, a burgeoning of form, a greater density. Belatedly, the thought occurs, what life might this ethereal climb support? Ecologies of ectoplasm, but what flora and what fauna? The air here crackles, viscous and intense, humid with meaning. The posited terrain grows steeper, rising up towards the domed pavilions of the Spectre Garden, flickering radiance of its exhibits brushed across the sky ahead. Struggle upslope, the last few yards become a headlong rush into the raw mouth of this brilliant wind. The Spectre Garden, neon railed, surrounds us. Its mind animals displayed. Before us is the habitat of an Enochian angel, summoned first by Edward Kelly in the 16th century, whose utterances terrified the seer that afterwards abandoned magic. Now, at our approach, a quickening of ultraviolet, shivering veil shape, womanness upon the brink of form. Solidify her, name her, call her.
I am the daughter of fortitude, and ravished every hour of my youth. For behold, I am understanding, and science dwelleth in me, and the heavens oppress me. They cover and desire me with infinite appetite. For none that are earthly has embraced me. For I am shadowed with the circle of the stars, and covered with the morning clouds. My feet are swifter than the winds, and my hands are sweeter than the morning dew. My garments are from the beginning, and my dwelling place is in myself. The lion knoweth not where I walk, neither do the beasts of the field understand me. I am deflowered, yet a virgin. I sanctify, and am not sanctified. Happy is he that embraceth me, for in the night season I am sweet, and in the day full of pleasure. My company is a harmony of many symbols, and my lips sweeter than health itself. I am a harlot for such as ravish me, and a virgin with such as know me not. Purge your streets, O ye sons of men, and wash your houses clean. Make yourselves holy, and put on righteousness. Cast out your old strumpets and burn their clothes. And then I will bring forth children unto you, and they shall be the sons of comfort in the age that is to come. That is to come. That is to come. That is to come.
Behind, the fans of slatted light and feathered rays recede. The shock and tingle of her after-presence almost fire about the nerve ends. On, into this dream menagerie, amongst the spoor of visionary beasts. A track of jades and garnets, puddle deep, drags at our heels like estuary sand. Ahead, a haunted maze of glass, where is the demon regent called Asmodeus, charisma without subject, who, in antique Persia, loved a princess, slew her 7 suitors on their wedding night in jealousy, was banished into Egypt. Strange attractor ripples in the forebrain as we near. His algebraic beauty is insufferable. Symmetry becomes it. Come to ruin our impending feast, a presence that nourishes suffering. All things below voice his burning name. His turmoil offers only truth in which longer moments live. Let consciousness recapture the flicker it saw then. Torture continuity of thought now until that mind evaporates. Lust after shadows in us. Rend that lace of promises broken and white lies. Regard our love of wreckage, the way our heads thunder, approaching that warning pulse and temple of throbbing light that is Asmodeus. Asmodeus is that light throbbing of temple and pulse, warning that approaching thunder heads our way. The wreckage of love, our regard lies white and broken. Promises of lace that rend us in shadow after lust evaporates. Mind that until now thought of continuity, our torch then saw it flicker. The recapture, consciousness let live moments longer, which in truth only offers turmoil. His name burning, his voice below things. All suffering nourishes that presence. A feast impending, our ruin to come. It becomes symmetry. Beyond the shuddering Rorschach, the magnetic walls of Hell's 9th Duke, our cinder path of precious stones gives way to fine blonde sand, the demon chill to dry and desiccated warmth. We close upon the last of the imaginary beings manifested here within this garden of appearances. 3 separate phyla: angel, demon, and, at last, a deity. Asleep amongst giant tumbled stones, eroded and decalcified, rests Glykon, last created of the Roman gods. His form is of a serpent, taller than a man when risen up, with human ears and nostrils, lidded chinks for eyes. His golden hair in ringlets curling from his scalp. Proceed with caution. This is old power, and the idea of a god, a real idea. His dry cheek sleeping flat against cold rock, he waits the vital hot of dawn, even to think. No gap between sun and that reason which it represents. The parched air oiled with myrrh, A depthless, lidless dark before awakening, but pinlit, scented, pearled in thousands. Naked brainstem, arid spine of lightning, fossil stripes the white dunes outside time. His belly filled with understanding, jewel and poison. Call him, saying sweet one, saying master. Call him father of the garden, shivered warmth of scale half felt inside us. Whispering brush and slither wind the cortex. Fixed eye mad and needle sparked with figment. Flickering kiss and hair of sticky gold, it rears against the roar of noon. And knows with slitted gaze, when are we breathless in the coils of God?
There's a tall tale of two cities, and it's all in double Dutch. Some two-bit hustler double-crossed the heavy twins. One with his lily white boy, he's too soon, too much. The other brother would have quit for just two pins. The deuce is wild, the jack was iced on the old one too. When he threw snakes eyes, they were holding hands. Down Cazenove Road, where first offenders find the second bicycle, to Bobby's bicycle, towards New Scotland Yard. So I like to hear a fan's dispensing talk, the double visions as the double gangsters living by their lead Jack Spot, Rackman being a two-step Booth being a two-step lamb, off to a looking glass house, two up, two down. Back in, but there's two sides to every story. There's two sides to every story. Door to every cell, and the door to two wrongs to every right, two wrongs to every right, two back. Now they've looked at life from both sides. Now they've looked at sentence hard to spell. Sentence hard to spell. In the city, double your money, think twice. In the city, you better think twice. The muscle is bunched in the car. Muscle is bunched in opposite corners. Injustice, matters of grieving, but it matters of bodily harm. Bodily harm, LRPs on the sides of the double. As law condemns larceny, kettles called pots, much better than one their crop number two heads. In the blind beggar, someone receives a black spot. They say two can keep secrets if one of them's dead.
Hallucinated rain in a mirage of gutter, conjured by its sound, the summer downpour frying in the puddles rinsed between the teeth of drains. This insubstantial torrent sluicing a cholesterol of styrofoam and dog end from the city's dead grey veins. A phantom, speculated city somewhere else that had its night voice netted once, then chloroformed, pinned to a specimen board of magnetic tape, revived to flutter weakly here tonight. Who knows how long since it was captured, or how far away? Where do the Yarmouth breakers detonate? A distant Semtex when we are away from Yarmouth? Where do the lights of London flare when we are not here? What non-Euclidean map includes the places we are gone from? Say its name, the absent town, the city in remove, and there it rises in the backyard of our eyes. Some common landmark snapshot first, and then specific street and house and room, specific chair. Say Birmingham, and the rotunda rears within us, our imaginations squinting in the traveller's fair glare of New Street Station. Or say Folkestone, and recall the quayside sudden still beneath our feet. These are the towns of light, built from remembered brick, conjectured beam, that stand in Hilbert space, a plane of concept and idea where thought is form, where the recalled smell of fresh paint upon forgotten stairs is an event in place and time. These detailed, weightless urban sprawls we carry in our fragile skull that teem with reminiscent traffics, populous with bias, opinion, rumour, legend, lie. Locations we shall never visit that yet have their hearsay substance in our lives and so are never far from us. They rest in occult mercators where distance is not marked from point to solid point, but calibrated there between the spark gaps of our free associations, yielding geographies with Land's End next to John O'Groats, and Earth with poles adjacent. Continent, nation, mapped outside of matter, state of mind, metropolis erected out of nothing, only metaphor, and ringed with slums of dream. Mnemonic highways made from smears of field glimpsed once through glass at speed, or from the jaundiced strobe of gone-by sodium lamps, hot amber necklace on the night's bare throat, monoxide dabbed upon her pulse points. Strung between the shimmering fabricated towns, inroads of anecdote, synaptic rails to bear the trains of thought, a beaded web across our gazetteer of the interior. Seen from above, the glittering threads of meaning run like mercury, converge on the imaginary capital, a shadow London, our idea of London, flickering in the forebrain. When we are not here, this apparition is our only London. Enter from the east by Bromley, Poplar, Wapping, and already filaments of recognition start to hum and glower. Rupert Murdoch, with hereditary convict eyes, leers through a vague phantasmal rubble of old pine mash stands, Mosley pamphlets, pearly kings and queens, a residue of mind junk heaped since childhood. Pure subjective incident. By Wapping Wall I watched a human pelvis bob down river, old, plaque-coloured, flecked with algae in a fierce viridian rash, and there was nothing to be done. It looked like any other pelvis I have seen, a calcareous outline sketch of Mickey Mouse's head. It turned and ducked and drifted then, drifts now in memory, mine, and your imagination, twisting slowly through the cold suspensions at the river's edge, where pirates hung in chains until the tide stuffed their repenting throats with silt. The bone was tumbling like a dice at the conclusion of a long and rattling throw commenced with birth. Crapped out. Snake's eyes. The clumped weed clings to it, nostalgia for a lost pudenda, swerves now, sinks, is gone. Leave it behind us, almost buried, jutting from the beds of sleep and recollection. Move on to the city hypothetical, the virtual London scaped from essence, where past schemes and mildewed visions show, old wallpaper behind a peeling present. Down the Ratcliffe Highway, or our notion of it. Faint ghosts, old stains and patterns blotch the wood chip. George is in the east, that great dead battery of a Hawksmoor church, part of his stifling symbol net, his Tesla grid of terror and magnificence. Timothy Marr, the draper, and his wife, their infant child and their apprentice died near here, dispatched with maul and ripping chisel in the small hours of the 19th century. Convenient atrocity, necessitating the origination of a police force, one much imitated since throughout the Western world. Those things that breed in this idea space have their consequence, heavy as churches, they themselves the fossil dreams of architects. Move on. Whitechapel, Spitalfields, streets filthy with mythology as if there'd been a refuse strike amongst the urban myth collectors, stories left to rot and swelter in their bags outside Bengali lockups. Here, amongst conceptual terraces, past violence thrusts, a black insistent grass between the flags. Here is the serial killer's dream time, murder mecca, Saucy Jack and the Masonic songlines, bloodlines, scabbed now, faint with age, their power all but exhausted by our need to pick, to touch. Here too is Princelet Street, a house unoccupied save for a brace of tailors on the 3rd floor, where the Channel 4 without walls oddity, the Cardinal and the Corpse, was shot in part. In company with poets Brian Catling, Aaron Williamson and Ian Sinclair, Ominous Gree behind the project and, according to the schedule notes, Freak Wrangler, I crouched there in an upper room and clutched a first edition of The Magus, an alchemical text penned by Francis Barrett in the 18th century. This was my final scene. Typecast as an occult fanatic by the Mordaunt Sinclair, raving and obsessed by the geometries of Whitechapel, I find myself alone, condemned to spend eternity in a bare attic overlooking Christchurch Spitalfields. The Barrett book is open at a page of illustrations that depict the fallen angels or the vessels of iniquity and wrath. It strikes me that the picture of Apollyon, a vessel of iniquity, bears an unsettling resemblance to the photograph of me that's on the back of Watchmen. Through the window looms the spire of Hawksmoor's awful church. I look up from the book and gaze in panic at the empty room in which I am to spend forever as a prisoner of my own obsessions. It's a wrap. Downstairs I watch while former soldier of the Cray twins Tony Lambrianou is interrogated on the finer points of Gangster Chic by Driffield, exit shareholder, maniacal bookfinder. The spell, the glamour of the twins hangs like an Old Spice fog about the edge of the production. Lambrianou, on whom any moral judgment would be simply too elaborate, recalls the strange still of his pre-dawn drive through Hackney, Jack McVitie cooling, folded in the boot. The mystery of David Litvinoff is raised, dialogue consultant on Nick Roeg's performance, sometime paramour of Ronnie Cray. Was there a book he worked upon, an exposé that vanished with his murder? Hoax and allegation, graveyard gossip, cobbling the less inviting metaphysic alleys of this fictive, phantom London. The pillars underneath the Hendon flyover maintain their discreet, stoic silence. We pass on, down back streets of the mind towards the symbol city's immaterial heart, along Commercial Street, through Bishopsgate, Cornhill and Cheapside to St Paul's. This is the hub. Here, all the lines of meaning stretched from Boadicea's grave to William Blake's converge. The vectors ranged from Cleopatra's Needle to its monstrous twin upon Canary Wharf cross here, upon that stone set into the cathedral walls, brought from Jerusalem in the Crusades, brought from the temple of King Solomon, his seal, the pentacle, reiterated here across the face of London, etched in church and obelisk and grave. St Paul's. The pagan darkness after the collapse of Rome saw here a temple of Diana so revered that early Christian monks despaired of a conversion and complained, London worships Diana, and in the suburbs of Thorney they burnt incense to Apollo. Thorney's now Westminster. In 610, Christian convert Ethelbert of Kent destroyed Diana's shrine and built St Paul's, a church of Christ. In Norman times, 1081, it burned and was rebuilt as a cathedral. Wandering through this maze of correspondence and association, let us pay attention to St Paul himself, a proto-Mason. There, in 1 Corinthians 3:10, he states, as a master builder, I have laid foundations, and another builds thereon. This staunch misogynist clashed with Diana at Ephesus, where her followers humiliated him. Here's his revenge. Diana shackled, hemmed in by a pentacle of obelisks and phallic solar signs, with her abode rededicated in his name. Late as the 14th century, her sacred animals, the buck and doe, were sacrificed with fanfare here. King's mistresses, in penance, roamed St Paul's by night dressed as the goddess of the moon, mother of churches. Until 1925, the women of the city hugged its pillars to induce fertility. The notion of Diana cannot be erased. In Hilbert space, the concept of the goddess is bound inextricably in the cathedral's mortar. 15 years ago, the royal wedding's sudden change of venue from Westminster's solar altar to this more appropriate site. As the mammalian dome of the cathedral rears before her, swaying in the sun-baked coach, she feels a sudden nausea and sees their eager faces as they line her way. She hears their voices, touched by old hysterias, as they call out her name, as they invoke her, as they say, Diana, Diana, Diana. After the Great Fire, Wren rebuilt St Paul's, 5 chains encircling its dome as ancients chained the statues of their gods to bind their power. Here is Diana chained, the soul of womankind bound in a web of ancient signs, that woman might abandon useless dreams of liberty, accept that she exists only to endlessly reflect the harsh male brilliance of a father's son. The monuments that loom on this untouchable plateau cast shadows and have solid consequence. Be careful here. It is the merest mental stroll, a single step through this projected landscape, to a reconstructed Fleet Street, an inferno smouldering beyond those sooted panes. The metal giant pulse of rotary drum, migraine of shuttling linotype machines, a hell of printers' demons, fingers black with all the world's sins. Here, they build a paper planet. They unfold our greeds and our anxieties. They tell us when to cry and how to vote and who to think of when we masturbate. They are the engineers of our exhaustion, crushing pressure front of fact and innuendo, booming in these subtle latitudes. And so to Bride Lane, the etheric Bride Lane overlaid in an elusive gel upon the current brickwork. Bride Lane bleeding into history and fable through the wrought gates of St Bride's, the Printer's Church. In 1864, young Mary Walker, aged 19, was wed to printer William Nichols here. She had 5 children by him: Edward, Percy, Alice, Henry and Eliza. William left her for the midwife who assisted with Eliza's birth, whereafter she began to drink, slipped into prostitution, and in August 1888 was taken to Bucks Row and cut to pieces by a faceless and chthonic force, first victim in the Ripper Cannon. At the old Montague Street morgue, William Nichols generously forgave his wife for all that she had done to him. Next door to the imagined church is the morphogenetic echo of the building we inhabit, the St Bride Foundation Institute and Library, which, like every edifice in this psychosomatic realm, has its intuited dimension. All the rooms we are not in, the closed doors passed upon arrival. Though remote from us, these secret spaces flare, exposed upon the brain's emulsion. Rumoured cellars, ankle deep with water when the buried river fleets in flood. Locked mausoleum drawers of type, the coffined vowels, protracted screams in sans serif, italic sighs. The raised face of each character briefly perceived beneath illusory fingertips. Even this present chamber, real and tangible to us, has its suggested twin. Century-old splash and echo of those driven young Victorian men in postcard bathing suits. The self-absorbed intensity of every length, a filigree of snot on each joke shop moustache. Inflamed by the composing into blocks of some obscurely racy classic text, they seek the cold plunge, sublimate in the delights of Sparta. If this room is mirrored in idea space, what of we, the people in it? Are we not as much composed from figment and belief as this construction, as this street, this city? With our personal mythologies and our impostures, with our pasts which truly are the mass and matter of us, yet have no continuing existence save in memory and mind? Inside this haunted auditorium, a numinous crowd, shifting, restless in their seats. These magic lantern shadows that we cast, the isolated cones of nightlight that we know as self. Continuous mutter in the centre of us, monologues we have mistaken for the world. Could we go further in, past all idea of place and the reflections place is making us. In our conjectures, might we breach that private night to which we designate the letter I? Move into our collective skull, this firmament of bone with the topographies of our awareness ranged beneath. Stay close together. These are stairways beyond substance. Things get slippery here, beyond the wavering flame of our attention. Only dark. Good men and gentle wives, set down your kettle night. Wake up from your lives. Behold a town of light. Time has failed you. Yet now the streets are bright. There are angels in you. Walk through all your foundry walls. Behold a town of lights. Be hail or be frail. Jerusalem's in sight. Leave ye now your mill and jail. Behold the town of lights. Time has stained you. Put on your gowns of white. There are angels in you. Fields again rise through the rains. Behold the town of light. 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 Behold the town of light.
The pentagram, dedicated to Henry Foreman. In the years of the primal course, in the dawn of terrestrial birth, man mastered the mammoth and horse, and man was the lord of the earth. He made him an hollow skin from the heart of an holy tree. He compassed the earth therein, and man was the lord of the sea. He controlled the vigor of steam. He harnessed the lightning for hire. He drove the celestial team, and man was the lord of the fire. Deep-mouthed from their thrones, deep-seated, the choirs of the eons declare the last of the demons defeated. For man is the lord of the air. Arise, O man, in thy strength. The kingdom is thine to inherit, till the high gods witness at length that man is the lord of his spirit.